Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about one of the most renowned uh, philosopher in the Indian history, Swami Vivekanand. Today we'll be studying about the the teachings given by Swami Vivekanand and the application of his teachings in management. So we'll start with the brief history or the life journey of Swami Vivekanand ji. Swami Vivekanand was born on 12th January 1863 in the famous Datta family of Shimla and were residing in Calcutta. The father of Swami Vivekanand, Mr. Vishwanath Datta, was an attorney at the Calcutta High Court at that particular time. His mother, Bhuvneshwari Devi, was a very pious lady and was a housemaker. Narendranath, Swami Vivekanand's original name was Narendranath, had a very wide areas of interest and had very good scholarships. He attained very good scholarships in the area of philosophy, history, social sciences, art, literature, and many more such subjects. He was really passionate about reading, as his professors used to say that Narendranath was a prodigy. He was really a genius. So he was really having so much interest in the Ved, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Purana, all the Purans of the Indian mythology. So he basically studied a lot about the Indian spiritualism, Indian mythology, and was really enticed by the virtue, the wisdom that these epics of Indian religion were having. So basically, then he passed his BA examination in 1884. But passing the BA examination was not his forte. He wasn't very satisfied with the knowledge of philosophy that he was having. He studied philosophy in the college, but then he wasn't really satisfied. He was wondering that if God and religion can made part of one's growing experiences and deeply internalized. He was basically looking for a spirituality in his life. He was thinking about having spiritualism. So he was basically thinking that if God, not and the religion, these have to be made the part of life. Religion not as in any Hinduism or Muslims or Christianity. He was looking for the internal meaning, the eternal thoughts that these religions give us. So that's why he left. He was really anxious to know about the spiritualism. Then in 1881, his thoughts came to rest when he met Ramakrishna Paramhans. And this really proved to be a turning point in his life. He accepted Ramakrishna Paramhans as his guru wholeheartedly and with complete surrendering as a disciple. He wholeheartedly accepted Ramakrishna as his guru and followed his words, his wisdom, to the point that everything, whatever he said, he felt like Ramakrishna Paramhans is the God who is giving him all the virtue and the wisdom. So this name, basically the name of Swami Vivekananda was Narendranath, but this name Vivekanand was given to him by his guru Ramakrishna Paramhans. But then Ramakrishna Paramhans passed away in 1885 because of the throat cancer. Then once after Ramakrishna Paramhans expired, Vivekanand left the monastery in 1888. He left the monastery and started his travel. He started his travel in the search of this spiritualism. He wanted to learn. He has that insight of learning the things, learning about how to gain this spirituality, how to gain this inner happiness into himself. So he started traveling all along the length and breadth of India, trying to learn, trying to acquaint himself with diverse religious traditions. And during his travel to in whole of India, he really lived. He lived with all kinds of people. Like he lived with Hindus, he lived with Muslims, with Christians, with the people of lower caste, and also with the government officials, so that he can understand what people really think about religion and what religion basically is. So he lived with the people of different religions so as to understand their religion. He read Quran, he read the Bible, and he read Bhagavad Gita was his favorite book. He always used to keep Bhagavad Gita with him. So by reading all these things, by going through all these religions, he really felt that the main crux or the main idea of all these religious books is to have this spirituality. They don't need all those things that people should be going to the places of worship and worshipping there. The people should be thinking about the welfare of everyone. They should be looking forward to giving themselves out to the needy. So this is what he has been trying to learn. Then he traveled not only from Kashmir to Kanyakumari or from Ahmedabad to Bodh Gaya, that is, he traveled all along India, but then he started to travel outside India also. He got an opportunity to travel to Japan. Then in Japan, he in that religious parliament where everybody was there to um, give insight about their own religions. So he tried. He was there as an ambassador of Hinduism, and then he traveled to America. As we all know, on September 11th, 1893, it is like one of the most important days in Indian history that Vivekanand at the Art Institute of Chicago, he gave his famous lecture on Hinduism. And the people there, the president of that parliament said that India, the mother of religions, was represented by Swami Vivekanand, the orange monk. And he became famous as the orange monk. He is the cyclonic monk from India, the New York Herald wrote. Vivekanand is undoubtedly the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions. So we all know he started his speech there or the lecture there as by quoting my fellow brothers and sisters. So that very greeting really instilled that thought into the people that India is not only the land of cobras and snake people, it is the land of Hinduism. It is the land where this spirituality and Hinduism resides. So then he lived in America for many years. He went on and off to America as a teacher. He gave so many lectures in America, not only in Chicago, but in Detroit, Boston, New York, and many other places, in San Francisco. And there he established his Shanti Ashram also. So he used to go there regularly to give his lectures about Hinduism, about spiritualism, and then on and off he also used to visit to England, Vienna, Athens, Egypt. So by all these names, I just wanted to tell you people that he has traveled the whole world, and the people were loving him because he was trying to provoke that thought into the minds of the people that you don't need to love yourself, you need to spread the love, you need to love others. You will find happiness inside you when you will start loving others, when you will start spreading happiness. You can only feel happy when you can make others happy. So that was the concept of spirituality and his Hinduism that he was trying to uh, spread in the whole world. Then Swami Vivekananda expired at 10 past 9 on 4th of July 1902 while he was meditating, and according to his disciples, this was his Mahasamadhi. So basically, he died, he passed away at a very young age, but in those 38 years of his life, he really proved to the world that age is just a number. If you have the right thoughts in your mind, if you are having correct wisdom and virtue and that urge to learn things, you can do wonders in a small age also. So this was like a brief introduction about Swami Vivekanand. Now we'll study about the unique features of his personality. That what do we really learn and what are the things that we can learn from the personality of Swamiji. So the first main character, he was really gifted with a very good personality, with an excellent personality that we can say. So some of his features, important features of his personality can be summarized here as deep spiritual insight. Swami Vivekananda was a great, well known monk and spiritual figure of India, as we all know that. He possessed deep spiritual insight. He had that divine and intellectual qualities that that impacted a lot many people. See, not many people can impact other people's life. If you yourself have that deep spiritual knowledge inside you, then only you can spread that knowledge to the others. He possessed that craving for knowledge and that strong desire to know God, and that is why he passed that desire on to the lives of others also. When you see, it is a very simple thing. You can only spread what you already have. So when I have that spiritual insight inside me, then only I can spread that spiritualism to the outside world. Then second point is mind of a yogi. Vivekanand had that when somebody used to look at him, he had that piercing eyes. Piercing eyes means that his eyes are so powerful that it feels like that his eyes are getting into your soul. So he has that piercing eyes and the mind of a yogi with the highest realization. So the mind of a yogi here basically means that he has that persona of self-realization. He was not working or he was not living to attain the worldly pleasures. Pleasures like having good clothes or good food or anything like that. He was living to gain that realization of what God is, why God has sent us here, what should I do to make my life meaningful. So that kind of mind of a yogi, Swamiji used to possess. Then comes inner transformation. It was the strong confidence of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans in the integrity of Vivekananda's character, as also the master's selfless love for him that conquered and transformed his powerful heart. Swami Vivekananda had a very powerful vision and a very powerful heart. But Vivekananda had the spirit of God intoxication. He was passionate about knowing about the God. So his guru, Swami, that Ramakrishna Paramhans, he transformed him. That knowing God is a very simple thing. If you'll know yourself, so you need to understand yourself that how can I be happy? God resides in a happy heart and happy mind. So, and that happiness can be attained when you will be giving happiness to other people's. So that inner transformation was made into Swami Vivekananda's personality with the help of his master or his guru, Ramakrishna Paramhans. A wandering monk, as he was very commonly known as a wandering monk or an orange monk. Swami Vivekananda has been wandering monk during his life. His entire life, he has been wandering from one place to another. In 1988, he left the monastery, as we have already studied, and then he he started the life of without fixed abode. That I'll not have a fixed place to live. I'll not have any ties. Ties means any kind of relationships, independent and strangers wherever they go. That he used to live life like a stranger. I don't know anybody, but I want to spread love towards everybody. So that kind, his sole possessions were a kamandal. He used to have a kamandal and his favorite books, Bhagavad Gita and The Imitation of Christ. These were the only companions or the things that he used to carry, that his kamandal to have water, his books, and one or two people along with him. Then as a teacher in America, he went to America to deliver that lecture in the Parliament of Religions. And then through his talks and through his lectures during his stay in America, every day he instructed his followers about the yoga, about Raj Yoga, about Jan Yoga. His lectures were replete with the deepest philosophical insight. He used to give the philosophical insight about happiness. What should be doing in your life, what are the things that you need to possess, that is happiness, and that happiness should be gained only by leaving apart all the ties in the world, no relationships, no connection to the worldly pleasures. So that kind of a teaching he used to give to his followers. So uh, that is why he was like a teacher in America. Then a patriot saint. Swami Vivekananda is regarded as the patriot saint of modern India. and his inspiring personality was well known both in India as well as in the whole West. This spiritual leader leapt into fame at the Parliament of Religions held in Chicago, at which he represented Hinduism. He never left Hinduism. He is called Patriot Saint because he was very passionate and he was very proud of being an Indian, about being an Hindu, that he want to spread that. He want to clear the notion of the people around in the West that Hindus or the Indians are a very socially backward class. They don't have knowledge and everything. So he's tried to spread that philosophy and knowledge of Hinduism to the world. Then the next point is apostle of Hindu philosophy. So Swami Vivekananda's vast knowledge of Eastern and Western culture, as well as his deep insight, spiritual insight, and brilliant conversations about human sympathy and colorful personality evoked popular interest in Hindu philosophy. That, as I have already told you, that as being a teacher in America and as a patriot saint, he was trying to spread the knowledge of Hinduism and Hindu philosophy and about Indian culture to the world. And that's how he was trying to persuade and he was trying to influence people about all these things. So he basically spread the promotion and he promoted Hinduism in the whole world. Then is promoter of Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda introduced the philosophy of Vedanta. That is, Vedanta means the science of all the Vedas, the Ved that we have, Indian epics, to the West, and preached the ideal of strength giving and man making religion. Service to man as the visible manifestation of the Godhead. He basically told that the people should be uh, more focused towards giving rather than being on the receiving side. That is the philosophy given in our Vedas, that you should be a very good giver. You should be able to give everything to whosoever you meet. You should be able to spread happiness around you. And that was the concept of Vedanta, and that is what he was trying to promote. Then, as a national leader, he enjoys a unique position among the leaders of the Indian national movement. He also participated in the that during that time we were under the control of the Britishers. So he also was a leader of the Indian national movement during the second half of the 19th century. So historians accept the contributions made by Swamiji in terms of his work and messages spread by him. So he took very good part and a very intellectual part in the Indian national movement for the freedom of India. Then seeker of God. He was a very sincere seeker of God. He was, well, in one of his visits to Ramakrishna, he asked him if he had ever seen God. This question he had asked to many different spiritual leaders. He used to ask people that, have you ever seen God? Then Ramakrishna Paramhans said, yes, I have seen God. I see him as I see you here, but very clearly. God can be seen, God can be talked to, but the problem is what people care for God. People basically, that Ramakrishna Paramhans told Swamiji that you can see God, you can feel God. It is all about your own nature, that how you are perceiving God to be. If you want to see God, you can see God in all his human beings. The people sitting next to you can be God to you. If you are having that much of gratitude, if you're having that much of love towards everybody, everyone around you, they are God. People often, what people used to do is they shed torrents of tears for their wife, for their children, for wealth, property, and they and then they are not able to see God. If one cries sincerely for God, one can surely see him. So it is about that, if you are having that much faith, that much sincerity for God, for seeking God, that then you can normally see him. It is very easy to see God, but it's only about if you really want to see him. So these were certain personalities or the certain unique features of Vivekananda's personality. Now we come to the part. These are some of the books and the published work of Swami Vivekananda. Some of his works are like Karma Yoga in 1896, Raj Yoga, Vedanta philosophy, lectures from Colombo to Almora, Bhakti Yoga, the East and the West, and inspired talk. These are um, some of the we can say books and some of his published work about Swami Vivekananda. Now we'll discuss about his teachings and his ideas about management and the teachings that Swami Vivekananda has given, and how these teachings are applicable in management in today's time, that we are going to connect in the next video. So I hope you understood the concept of Swami Vivekananda's work and the things here, and we'll continue with the next lecture in the next recording. Thank you very much.